The Houston Rockets have been the worst team in basketball over these last few years, ever since trading away James Harden. And I'm not going to go on and on and on because it seems like every video that I've seen on people talk about this subject as well and whatnot, we all know about James Harden now. Come on, let's be honest. We all know that James Harden used to be on the Houston Rockets and how he led them to so much success. All right, that's all you need to know.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But yes, he got traded away from the Houston Rockets, as we all know, and at the time that was, of course, a massive move for this team. He's one of the greatest players of all time. He's not the greatest of all time, but he's definitely up there with them. From that point on, the Rockets were in their rebuilding phase. And really, when you look at the history of this Rockets team, they've only missed the playoffs, I believe, in these last 20 years, maybe like a handful of times. So this team, as far as an organization standpoint, they know how to build playoff teams. They've done it. Looking now at what the Houston Rockets have been able to do, well, we know that they're franchise cornerstone pieces. I would say that, of course, those guys are Jalen Green, Alperen, Sengun. Porter has really shown great potential as well. I mean, there's many guys on this team that has potential. I mean, they're all young, for crying out loud. But we'll discuss that more so later on. First off, of course, we got to talk about the signing of Ime Udoka. Now, signing Ime Udoka, I believe, was really one of the best moves that this team has done. He's definitely a great cultural change type of coach. He did it while he was on the Boston Celtics. He actually helped that Boston Celtics team really transform into a team that it felt like no identity. But once Ime Udoka came over and took over as the head coach, he helped create a better identity for that Boston Celtics team, especially, of course, on the defensive end of the basketball court. And not only that, but he developed really great relationships with players. I believe that Jason Tatum said that was, they had a very close relationship. He was a very, very close person to him. Recently, I've seen a photo of Ime Udoka, Jalen Green, and Kevin Porter Jr. all helping out at some event for Juneteenth, which is really just good to see that they're already building that bond, chemistry, all that stuff. Really, really good to see. And I believe that he can come in and really make a huge difference for this Houston Rockets team and unlocking the talent on this team. Now, of course, let's talk about their free agency signings. We all know Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks, main two pieces in this, of course, as we all know. And look, say what you want about Fred VanVleet, but Fred VanVleet, let's not forget, this guy was an NBA champion. For crying out loud, he even had a Finals MVP vote in that year when the Raptors won the NBA Finals. And look, I know I'm speaking of the past. And Fred VanVleet this last season, well, it wasn't the greatest, brightest year of his NBA career. Looking at the overall stats, but let's not mention the Toronto Raptors were one of the worst offensive teams as well in the NBA. And, well, Fred also struggled this last season with his three-point percentage. He's normally shooting for his career at 37% from three. He only shot 34% last year, and his field goal percentage was below 40%, which, of course, is not good at all. It's not really an efficient player. But when you look overall at Fred VanVleet, he still averaged 19.3 points per game. He still was one of their top players on that team last season, despite some of the issues going on with the Toronto Raptors that were very, very present. This guy is a very talented basketball player, and many people were putting him down so hard for him getting the contract that he got with the Rockets. They had money to spend, and Fred VanVleet, I believe when you look at the contracts that the other guys are getting around the league, for crying out loud, yeah, there's some guys you can say that are more deserving of having more money than Fred VanVleet. But let's be real here. Let's just be real. Fred VanVleet, experience, his skill set, everything that he can bring to the table for this Rockets team, it's going to be very, very valued. And of course, we can't forget about talking about Dillon Brooks as well. And Dillon Brooks is going to be a very interesting piece, a highly controversial piece at that. He's made some really dumb decisions in his NBA career, as we all know recently, especially with the whole LeBron James situation. But I believe that with this new structure, especially on this Raptors team, especially with, as we mentioned earlier, with the mentality that Ime Udoka has for his players especially, you're not going to see that on this team. This team is going to be built on a different culture from what they were in the past. Now, Dillon Brooks, he's not the greatest three-point shooter. Really, let's be real, his offensive game is not his biggest standpoint. It's what he brings on the defensive end of the basketball court, and he's going to bring that to this Houston Rockets team. And I believe that, well, Dylan Brooks, he should already know that he can't really say anything now. You know, he's already been scrutinized and everything by the media. So for him now, it's almost like he has to redeem himself for all these past mistakes that he's made and everything that has happened. He's going to have to really come out this year and really prove to everybody that he can actually play good basketball. Of course, we got to talk about their draft picks as well. Of course, many people are saying the steal of the draft, also the winners of the draft, in drafting Cam Whitmore. This guy, he won Summer League MVP, and he's definitely shown a lot of potential. Now, look, you're going to have to enlighten me down in the comment section below, because I haven't really covered him fully like that, because I didn't really fully watch all the Summer League games. So enlighten me. Tell me about his skill set. What all can he really bring to the table to this Houston Rockets team? Let me know down below in the comment section. But also, of course, moving on, we all know that Ahmed Thompson, he got hurt in the Summer League, but, well, he already showed his potential early on, and he's going to be a really good piece on this Houston Rockets team. Of course, one of the major weaknesses of his game that he drastically has to improve on is his three-point percentage and free throw percentage. If he can really improve in these areas of his game, I believe that the sky is really the limit for this guy. And let's not mention, he's still really young on top of that. And talking now about one of my favorite players now, of course, transitioning into the actual main core the Rockets have already had now, entering his third season, Alperen Sengun. Look, I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce his name right or not, but this guy, in my opinion, is one of the main pieces on this team. Actually, I believe that really he's one of the best pieces on this team. Now, of course, Jalen Green, you know, is one of the best players on this team, period, hands down. We all know that. But Alperen Sengun's value, what all he can contribute, is very underrated on this team. You know, when you look at the stat sheet, he's not putting up big numbers like Jalen Green or anything. He's only I think last year he averaged about 15 points per game. He's a solid rebounder. He averaged around 9 rebounds per game. He shot 55% from the field. He averaged around 4 assists per game. His value on this team is really good, and if he can actually, you know, open up his three-point range and even more, man, that would be incredible. But of course, stands out his game is he is a great passer. This is something that's really talked about really well. He can pass in a variety of situations, but I believe that he has that potential to be a mini Jokic-like player. Of course, he's not on Nikola Jokic's level at all. We know this already, but if he continues to grow as a willing playmaker, especially on this type of Houston Rockets team, the sky's the limit. Now, he didn't get as many touches because you got guys like Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., Jabari Smith Jr., you know, all these guys, they're on the team. They're young. They're not winning any games. They know this so well. They just have the green light to shoot and do whatever works for them. Really just trial and error right now for this Rockets team. But I believe that he can, if you make him really the focal point of this offense, not as far as scoring, but you run the offense through him, I think that can really make some big differences for this Houston Rockets team. I mentioned he's only 21 years old, and his game is already still growing so much. He went from averaging 9 points his rookie season to 15 points per game this season, and I believe that he can take an even bigger jump up to possibly averaging 17 to 18 points per game. I think he has that type of potential, but of course that depends on what Ime Udoka does with this offense this upcoming season. Look, Jabari Smith Jr. had a really interesting rookie season. Many people were disappointed in his rookie season, but let's be real, despite him only averaging about 12 points per game, which still really isn't bad, he's shown a lot of potential to be a really solid 3-and-D player on this team. He's a great defender, really great defender, and he can shoot pretty well as well. Really get all the opportunities that he could have last season on this Houston Rockets team, but he definitely showed a lot of growth and potential, especially in the Summer League. You know, he had multiple 30-point games. I believe he had a buzzer beater. He's shown that he is definitely really good in that way of competition, and that's actually a great sign. And Jalen Green. Jalen Green is a very talented basketball player. You know, he's already the face of this team, and the pressure has been on him from a very young, since he's been on the Houston Rockets team, drafted here and all. A very talented basketball player. Now, let's be real, his defense is his brightest point, and his decision making overall isn't always the best. But like I said, these bad habits always have to do with the fact as well that this Rockets team really weren't going to be competing. So these guys kind of just had the green light to just go out and do things, basically. This guy, if you've seen him play, he's a very, very talented basketball player, talented offensive player overall. I think the potential for him to grow as a player is still there. Of course, he's still very young. That's the thing about all these guys on this team, which is a very scary thing to know, is that they're all still young. All these guys are working on their games, still growing, still getting better overall, and adding the veteran presence of a Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks, I guess, but more so Fred VanVleet. You add a guy who's won an NBA championship, and they're gonna have to figure out the whole rotation situation, especially with Fred VanVleet and Amen Thompson, the point guard position. But I believe that they can really figure out everybody's role on this team. They will be a very, very successful team. And the thing is, they're gonna have to get rid of some guys as they figure out which guys are going to be the best fit on this team. You're gonna have to make some sacrifices and let go of guys that you don't really need anymore, and that's gonna be done, I believe, in this Rockets era. And I think that Ime Udoka can really turn around things for this Houston Rockets team. They're young, they're very talented. You have multiple skill sets of guys on this team. Future is looking really, really bright for the Houston Rockets, and I'm looking forward to seeing play this year. I mean, I think even winning 36, 37 games, that is a massive improvement. I doubt they win that much, but if they can win that is a success, in my opinion, if they can this season. But we shall see. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more basketball content each and every single week. Have a great day. Peace.